Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here is the AJ27 and today I will be inspecting the part load breather and the full load breather of the XK8. Thank you to everyone who reached out and asked for this video. This is an important procedure even though it's very simple. In fact, Jaguar had a technical service bulletin about the breathers. Luckily, my vehicle is newer and it's outside of the affected range, but older vehicles did tend to have a problem with especially the part load breather getting clogged or being restricted and not functioning properly. So it's definitely something that I would recommend all XK8 owners check out on their own vehicles and make sure that there's no obstructions. Jaguar themselves recommend that this is serviced every 10,000 miles or roughly 16,000 kilometers. So it's part of the regular scheduled service sort of maintenance intervals for the vehicle. One thing to keep in mind here is that the connectors on both breathers as well as the hoses are plastic. There is no metal there, everything is plastic. And since our cars are older, many vehicles have a lot of miles on them, that plastic gets harder and more brittle with age, and there is a chance that you may break something, which is a terrible thing to happen. I don't recommend it to anyone, where you're just simply trying to do a simple service process and you end up breaking something. So to minimize that, what I do is I mean, you can use any product. This is the Chemical Guys vinyl rubber and plastic compound. I would place some of it on a glove and just apply everywhere here around the connector and down the hose as well, right? Don't be holding back on this. Apply tons all along and give it some time to penetrate. Allow the plastic to soak up the compound so that hopefully it gets a little bit softer, a little bit rejuvenated. And as you squeeze the connectors and you pull and you maneuver the hose and so on, the chances of the hose cracking or the connector breaking or anything like that are lower. I don't have any empirical data to know if this would really help. My thinking is it's definitely not going to hurt, so why not do it? The full load breather is easier, so we start on this side. Now, the connection mechanism here is basically a ring at the bottom which squeezes and holds the hose to the opening from both sides. And what you need to do to disconnect it is to squeeze top and bottom, squeeze the ring. That would cause the sides to expand out and release, and then you can pull out. So that's what I'll be doing here. Just squeeze and pull out, and you saw it move, right? Now it's disconnected. If you push in, listen, click, right? So squeeze, pull out, there it goes. Now be careful, don't yank on it because it's very easy to overbend it and crack it and break it along here. So very gently, just pull it out. Once it's free from the opening, you can rotate it this way. There we go, out of the way. And now you have access to your full load breather. Let me just turn on the light here. There we go. And this is inside of it. As you can see, at least in my case, absolutely perfectly clean. There is no sign of debris or contamination or any old stuck oil or anything like that at all. I would actually be surprised if this can ever get clogged on any car, just because the opening is so big. The bigger problem is on the other side, because there we're talking about a very, very small opening. But this is it for the full load breather. If this is dirty, you could use a Q-tip probably and carefully just clean this opening. But in my case, everything is mint, so I'll just close it back rotate, and once it's pointing the right way, just press down, click, and we're done. For the part load breather, the connecting mechanism is the same, but the diameter of the ring here at the bottom is smaller, which makes manipulating it a bit harder, and also we don't have as much clearance. So one thing I will do is I'll take this cover off to give myself a bit more working room. Jaguar, by the way, do have a special tool that could be used to slide from the side and release the tension, release the connection to make things easier. I don't have that tool, so I'm going to have to sort of work around that. But it is still perfectly possible to take this off. By the way, I don't know about this glue or whatever material is here. It was like this when I got the car. I don't know if this is from the factory or some work had been done here after the fact. I would be curious to know if you guys have something similar like this on your cars. Does your part load breather look like this? Because this looks a bit sloppy to me. I don't know. I hope this is not factory work, but it may very well be some kind of sealant here around the opening. So let's get the cover off and then we'll continue. All right, let's disconnect this hose. Then we need to lift up a bit along the length. There we go. And then there's a connection here which will just slide out. There we go. There are plastic vertical pins here that go in downwards. I'm just being careful because, again, all of this is plastic, maybe brittle. I don't want to pull on it too hard. There we go. They've released. Now I just need to fish this out. Like so. Here are those plastic tabs that I was referring to. There we go. And they slide in here. See those holes? There are rubber surrounds here. You actually touching them, this rubber has gotten a bit hard, so you may want to rejuvenate that rubber as well before you put things back. All right, and now we have much more access here. We spoke about being careful not to break or crack these hoses. This one is short and easy to replace even if it did break. The one on this side is much more cumbersome. As you can see, it kind of dives down and travels in the valley. Hard to get access to it. It would be a pain if you have to replace this hose, which then would go all the way back to the throttle body. So be extra careful here, especially because in order for you to squeeze, you may need to spin this a little bit this way, right? And only then you have better access to squeeze that ring at the bottom. Just to reinforce the importance of not cracking or breaking anything, if any of those hoses break, what will happen is unmetered air is going to start entering the cylinders. Unmetered in a sense that air will be entering your engine without being measured by the mass airflow sensor. So this additional air, which will make its way into the cylinders, will throw off the air-fuel ratio, and your engine is not going to run the way it's supposed to. Depending on the intensity of the air leak, you may see a bunch of different symptoms. For example, hard to start, uneven idle, rough idle, lack of power. There could be a plethora of symptoms depending on how big the air leak is. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't have the tool which slides here from the side and releases this connection. And when I try to squeeze in order to release the ring at the bottom, I either can't squeeze hard enough, or despite the fact that I'm squeezing, I can't release it. So that's a bit of a problem. I will have to go to plan B, and plan B is this. I'm going to use this small vice grip with the idea that I would squeeze here with the vice grip, lock it, and hopefully that would allow me to then just pull out the connector. By the way, this tape here, it's not electrical tape, it is Tessa tape. In one of my previous videos, Gary Van Remorto recommended that I buy this tape. Gary, I've done so. I like it. It's like a fabric tape. It has good amount of grip here. So I think even though this is not the intended application of the tape, it would actually work well here. Folks, I will also link to Gary Van Remorto's XK8 Bible down in the description of this video if you'd like to check out this super precious document that he has compiled with a ton of information about the Jaguar XK8. All right, so let's start with plan B and see how that goes. Okay, I've not squeezed as much as I could, but no, doesn't seem to be moving. I don't want to pull too hard. Okay, I'll have to probably try something different. I have a small screwdriver here, and I will squeeze again. And then I'll try to use the screwdriver to push out on both sides. See if I can help this come out that way. There we go. You can see it's the same idea, right, with the ring, and you can squeeze from the side and then the tabs would release, but yeah, the plastic is not as soft, and because of the tight clearance here, it just makes it harder to open it. But we have it disconnected now. Luckily nothing broke, so let's take a closer look. I'm going to start the light here, and let's take a look inside. All right, you can see how this is a much smaller, oh there it is, perfect. It's a much smaller opening. There it is. And it does not look clogged at all, but I could see how this may potentially get clogged, especially if you don't do your oil changes on time and the oil gets a bit thicker, more sticky. It may end up clogging this pathway. And this is what the technical service bulletin is really addressing. Now, if this is clogged, here's what they recommend you do. All right, you need to get a drill bit that is 2.5 millimeters in diameter, or 3/32 of an inch. That is the thickness of the drill bit. The length, what is described is you need to be at least 35 millimeters long and no more than 45 millimeters. Now, I've put a tape here at about 42, 43 millimeters on this drill bit. And basically, I know that I don't want to go any further than where this tape is. Once you have the drill bit, you would basically slide it in. If there's an obstruction, you would start turning and essentially try to pull out through those grooves on the drill bit, try to pull out the dirt Definitely you don't want to be forcing it back inside the engine. But yeah, you would be going down and cleaning, and you would travel basically this far, and you don't want to push any further. So that is what the cleaning or declogging process would look like. And once you have inspected it or cleaned it, if you need to, you can then reconnect. You may want to look in here as well, just in case. But again, my car is completely clean, so there's nothing really to worry about. And you can click this back. Click, there we go. It takes a bit more pressure on this side compared to the full load breather. But yeah, now it's clicked in, and the inspection process is now complete. You can put back the cover, and with this, your regular maintenance for the load breathers is done. Congratulations, folks. Thank you for joining me. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care.